This is Pat Salber with the Doctor Weighs In, broadcasting from the Wireless Life Sciences Association Convergence Summit in San Diego. And we just completed an amazing panel called Voices of the Patients. And I am very lucky. It was the best patient panel that I have ever seen, and I've been at a lot of patient panels. And I'm very lucky to have with me Anna McCall Still. Did I get it right?
Anna McAllister-Slip.
Okay, it was close, but no,
Close.
I don't get any bananas.
That's
And
right.
Anna McAllister-Slip, and we actually know each other from was it last year or 2 years ago?
It was last year. My company, Galileo Analytics, was part of the Hive at TEDMed.
Right, and my company, Health Tech Hatch, was a part of the Hive, and we
Yes.
met then, and I really liked what you were doing, but that isn't what I want to talk about.
Okay.
What I want to talk about is it okay if I just call you Anna?
Of course.
That Anna has had type 1 diabetes for, I believe you said, 28 years.
Correct. Yes.
And she's been on an amazing journey with this condition. And I think I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you tell the story, a little condensed version of what you told on the panel, of what your medical life is like, not your business life and the rest of your life, but just this piece that has to do with you managing your type 1 diabetes.
Well, I have type 1 diabetes. It's a very complex disease to manage. My blood sugar is very difficult to control, can be very erratic at times. It's very responsive to lots of different environmental factors. I have all of the complications from diabetes. I have eye disease, nerve disease, kidney disease. I spend a lot of time managing my condition and trying to stay healthy and active. I take 14 medications daily. I use 4 prescription medical devices, 4 separate consumer medical devices and apps and blood pressure monitors and that kind of stuff. In the year 2013 alone, I had 63 different doctor's appointments.
So I just want to stop you for a second, because those numbers are so amazing to me. It's one thing to take 14 medications. You know, that's a pretty big deal. But to have, 4 prescribed devices, and how many devices altogether?
4 consumer devices, so 2 iPhone apps, and then a blood pressure monitor and a digital scale, which also provides information about hydration and bone density.
But you also have a pump, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Insulin pump, yes.
So she also has an insulin pump, amazing. And 63 visits last year alone.
Yes.
And of course, that didn't take any time, right? It was easy to get the appointments, and no problem.
Right, exactly.
You got seen right away when you showed up.
Yes. No waiting lists. It was quite a struggle.
And so one of the things that you talked about in the panel was having all these devices. That generates a lot of data. Mm-hmm. Tell us about what you're doing with the data, and what works for you with the data, and what is still a struggle.
Well, I have 4 prescription medical devices. 3 of those devices generate electronic data in structured format. But the data is all in completely different places, completely different formats. Downloading it on my Apple computer is nearly impossible. When you do download it, it looks like the platform and the interface was built in Windows 95.
And it probably was.
Literally. It's not very useful or usable, and getting access to or being able to download it is a lot of work. You have to update Windows and Parallels and all of this kind of stuff. It's a lot of additional expense and a lot of time. So the reality is that I have a disease where I would benefit significantly from having access to data trends. If I could see all of this data, all of these various data streams in one place, in one timeline, I would be able to understand lots of things about my health and about my activities and my lifestyle that affect my health. And it would be very helpful and useful, especially for somebody like me who has very complex and difficult to treat type 1 diabetes. But I can't, because all of the data is in completely different formats and standards. It's siloed in different platforms. So we have this amazing wealth of data generated by these brilliant, sophisticated devices, but it doesn't do anything. It stays separate and siloed. And in large part because the device manufacturers in this instance have chosen not to make their data protocols public, not releasing their APIs, not making the data available in a way that actually I could use it, or that I could buy an application that would be able to access that data in a way that I could use it and be meaningful.
So what are you going to do about it? You have a lot of energy, you have a lot of credibility. You are starting to connect with other people, like the people that were on the panel. Kim Goodsell is, I think, a great example. You probably know Hugo Campos. I mean, there are people out there who are interested in the same thing that you are. Do you see yourself leading the charge of moving this whole "give me my damn data" revolution, which is also a little bit of rhetoric and some action, but a lot more rhetoric. Do you see yourself playing a role in that?
Well, I mean, I think I'm playing a role in speaking at places like the Wireless Life Sciences Association meeting and various things. Over time, I've considered the possibility of creating a patient group specifically focused on data access, data liberation, device interoperability. But then you spend your life creating a new patient group, and I would rather create health IT solutions and platforms to enable patients. But it's important to hear things like what I said today about what the real day-to-day life of living with all of this data dysfunction and lack of interoperability and lack of cooperation amongst device manufacturers, what that really means for people as they try to stay healthy and maintain their life.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, that most people, including physicians who are taking care of patients with chronic illness, don't really understand what it's like to live with the illness and all those issues that you talk about, that you listed with how many devices and how many doctor's appointments and so forth, let alone the issues with data. So I really want to applaud you for being somebody who's willing to speak out, because your voice makes a difference. It's really a powerful voice, and you're very articulate, and you get the message across. And hopefully, if there's something that we can do through the Dr. Weighs In to propagate the message, we're more than happy to do it. And I want to thank you very much for taking time to spend with us today.
It's truly my pleasure, and we need people like you to carry this message forward. We can't do it on our own. So thank you very much for your interest.
Great.